jazz is supposed to be fun, right? So why does it feel like when you improvise, your mind is racing? You can't think fast enough. Or you can't think of anything at all. And that's not fun, is it? My friend Adam Levy is here, and he's going to show us a completely different way to look at this. Adam, let's get started.
Okay, beautiful.
So you have some ideas that you can share with us to make things simpler when we're improvising, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a couple of core principles that I wanted to share with you. Let's say we're going to play blues in C, 12-bar blues in C.
So why don't I be the sort of student that you're teaching? I'll be the guinea pig.
Okay. So let's actually
teach me something.
Okay, I'm going to teach you something. Maybe we'll get to a more typical blues, but this will help illustrate the point, and then we can maybe bring it to something.
Sure.
So
start off a little more simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I think of as like a big dumb blues, let's say we're in C. It's 4 bars of C7, 4 bars of F7.
Okay.
4 bars of G7.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to the top.
Sure.
And what I'm going to do is, instead of thinking in a scalar way, I'm going to just start with this triad. So this is a C triad.
At the 5th fret, yeah.
At the 5th fret. And when it goes to F, I want to go to this F triad here. And when it goes to G, think about this G triad that's close by here.
And I think if I'm knowing where you're headed with this, is you want to pick things that are nearby, because you don't want to play like this shape for C, then the same shape for F way up there, and then G way up there, because it's not connecting enough.
Right, exactly. It takes, some processing to make sure I get to the right place at the right time.
And maybe you might be 1 fret shy.
Right.
Or over, or whatever, yeah.
Right, and it also kind of sends a message to your brain that we've done a small reset. I knew what I was doing here. I had a little melody. I was following it. I move up here, and I've kind of got
calculating.
Yeah, and that's not how music works.
That's how AI works.
Yeah. Right. So let's just try this. I'll see what I can do. I'll try to make it simple and
okay.
So just like a medium tempo C blues. 1, 2, big dumb blues. So what did that sound like to you from the outside? What did you notice?
It sounded like music.
Huh.
Right? And it sounded like you were making the chord changes, but you didn't have to like necessarily slam over the head with it.
Right. That's a big leap that I think everybody will get there eventually, but when you first start out and a teacher or school or whatever kind of front loads, like, here's all the material that you need to learn before you can get to make some music. you miss these little just connections, that getting from C to F, it's not that far.
Right.
There's a lot of commonality. There's just enough change that we can feel it. So even somebody who didn't go to music school, they may not know what a 4 chord is, but they know something has happened.
Right.
And when it goes to the 5 chord, something happened that is different than what happened before. And that's what we want to tune into. It's almost more trying to think or trying to feel music like a non-musician.
Well, I was just going to say, or ask you a question. Do you sometimes try to picture yourself being in the audience and saying, now, what would someone in the audience want to hear me play or not want to hear me play to make it make sense? Do you do that at all?
All the time, yeah.
Okay. So more from an observer rather than the participant.
Right, because the observer is hungry for the next note. I mean, hopefully somebody listening is hungry or curious. We are constantly setting up everything you play is setting up an expectation for what could come next.
Right.
Right? But it can be easy to miss that as the player, because again, like, we're going back to, like, here's all the stuff I know, here's all the stuff I worked on, but you miss where it's all going. It's going into somebody's ears, maybe to their heart, on if we're lucky.
So you want to feel it just like the audience member feels the change, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When somebody goes to see a concert who's not a musician, I'm sure you have this experience, you play shows around New York, and you get to talk to them afterwards. Nobody comes up. I mean, if they're a guitar player, they might ask you what kind of pickups you've got in your guitar, but most people will just tell you how it made them feel.
Right.
Right. So I'm trying to tap into that for myself. What do I want to feel, and how do I go there? So by using these it's not to say that you have to use triads to make music that has feelings. It's not that. But I'm using that because it's just a simplified pathway. It's easy I hope for people to see what I'm doing,
Right. Yeah.
And
you can always branch out once you get the triad sort of thinking perfected. There's no such thing as perfection, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, right. So the next step would be, and I started to do it by the 3rd or 4th time around, thinking ahead to the next chord, not waiting for you to get to the F. Like, I'm already thinking about, okay, what might lead somebody's ear towards F? What's a note that I can play on C that doesn't feel settled? It feels a little unsettled, but it in a way that kind of pushes you towards the F chord.
Now, would you agree with me that when you're improvising, you're sort of being a composer? So you do have to look ahead and see what's coming up to create these little surprises or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, an improviser is a composer.
Right.
Sure.
You don't have time to edit it. You have to live with what you've played.
Yeah.
Warts and all.
Yeah. And that's a real tricky thing for some people.
Right. It can be scary, yeah, when you're first starting out.
Yeah.
Because the tendency is to want to sound good, perfected, and make everyone else happy that you sound good. Because maybe people start out don't realize that that's kind of the wrong angle to look at it, instead of being in the moment. Maybe.
Right. And that's a good point. When I say, like, to try to put yourself in the place of the listener, I'm not talking about being a people pleaser. I'm not talking about pandering to the audience. Rather, I'm thinking about, what do people listen, like, why do people listen to music in the first place, right? we as jazz guitar players might listen for a different reason. We might have technical things that we're interested in, or what have you.
But even us, we could listen on different levels, just
Right.
for an appreciation of the whole thing, not necessarily, well, I'm just going to only listen to what the guitar player is doing or whatever, right?
Right. It's like, okay, your tongue has receptors for different kinds of
Right.
flavors and stuff, right? You might get into, like, I don't know, the chemistry of food science or something, and get some like wild ideas about things you want to create. But at the end of the day, people have tongues and teeth, and that's where the food's going to go. So it has to be something that they can
Digest.
Yeah. Right. And that's what that's what I'm trying to think about with music. And so by focusing on these little movements and by mapping it out ahead of time, I know where I'm going, and I can have some fun with it, and I can be playful with it. The idea is, like, the blues does a couple of things that we're going to find in music over and over again.
Right, yeah.
I've got to learn all these arpeggios. I've got to change scales. And I don't know. I learned that way too. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to music school.
I know they seem to be very scale heavy when they teach you.
Right.
Right? Yeah, same here.
Can you hear a melody that takes you from a C chord to an F chord?
Right.
Can you visualize it on the fretboard in a couple of different places? And that would be something to work on. I think a lot of people just sort of skip that step, and I think it's so fundamental.
I know. I think people get locked into of what music looks like on paper.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
Rather than seeing the guitar and like you said, visualizing it, right?
Yeah.
And try to hear a sound. Like
Yep.
Joe DiOrio.
Oh yeah,
Joe DiOrio
Yeah.
was giving like a clinic at a music store somewhere. And someone asked him about
Wes?
Wes Montgomery really well. And then they hung out in his apartment, and he said, while they're hanging out, he was asking him questions.
So I asked Wes, when you think of D minor G7C, or when you see it, what do you think? He said, man, it's a sound. Man, it's a sound. It's not a symbol. You understand? It's not a scale. It's a sound. So when you play, you're playing sound.
Yes.
But you got to know what that sound is first, right?
Totally.
So is that somewhere where you're headed with this?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You must have a friend or two like this. You see them, you haven't seen them in a while, and you say, how's it going?
Mm-hmm.
And like 12 minutes later, they're still telling you how it's going, and you were really just trying to get the conversation started, you know? And I think that kind of happens on the guitar when we go to music school. You think, oh, when I see a C7, I need to know where all the C7 arpeggios are, all the Mixolydian scales all over, and then I need to show you through what I play that I know all this stuff.
Right. Because I practiced really hard.
Exactly. When really sometimes it's just the like, how are you? How's it going?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, to me, that's the sound.
Yeah.
Like, what is the sound of just seeing a friend and saying hello?
And I think improvisation in general, especially jazz, should be very conversational anyway.
Right.
And it's not very fun when you're having a conversation with somebody that never lets you say something. Right?
Yeah.
Can we switch roles, and then
Sure.
you can play the chords and I'll try something?
Yeah.
Just stay in the same key?
Love it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So what was that like from the inside?
I'm just enjoying the moment. Like you're creating this nice little rhythmic pad for me, and I don't have to say something all the time, right?
Right.
And all I'm trying to do is just think phrases like a conversation. Like, I went to the store and I bought some bread. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
It could be just. It doesn't have to be that corny.
Right.
But I'm thinking almost more rhythmical than note choices.
That's really a big thing that sometimes people miss when they first start out. Rhythm is a huge thing.
Right.
You know, rhythm.
We talk in rhythm, whether people realize it or not. Right?
Yeah. We talk in rhythm. We talk in melody. You know, if you poke around on YouTube, you can find people that...
Especially if you have perfect pitch, you can tell these things quite easily.
Yeah. And there are some creators, like I can't think of one off the top of my head, where they will take a snippet, something you've seen in the news, and kind of loop it and put some hip modern harmony underneath it. Well, they're adding harmony, but what makes that even possible to do is that
there's a melody there.
The original thing is like in melody and rhythm.
Right.
That's the part that everybody, you know, when you walk, you're in rhythm. When you talk, you're in rhythm. When you talk, you're in melody. So bring that onto the guitar. That's all you have to do. And what you said is so on the nose, which is that there's already something happening.
Yeah.
You don't have to take care of all the things at once. You know, I've got the rhythm, I've got the harmony.
Yeah.
You can play with that rhythm, like more concerted. You can play off of that rhythm. You can play melodies that mirror what I'm doing. You can play melodies that create tension against what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what, I mean, we call it playing guitar, or playing music.
Like I said, it's supposed to be fun, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least if you see me at a gig somewhere, and I will usually probably have a huge grin on my face, because I for some reason I always connect with a drummer, maybe because I kind of play drums too, but I don't know why I always feed off the drums, like and a drummer always loves it when I because they always say that I play interesting rhythms that most guitar players don't. They don't hear most guitar players do.
Huh.
And maybe that's because I've studied rhythm a lot.
How so? How do you study rhythm?
Well, I hear rhythm in my head all the time, like Josh Smith as well. Like he's always here, always in his head.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes I'm maybe not quite that bad, but lots of times I'll hear that in my head. So it's not hard for me to come up with something, because I'll just latch on to that, and that's just how it turned out that particular point in time.
Right. Another thing is like kind of map things out of where you might go before you start even playing, and kind of go like, okay, you know, this is where I want to be on this chord. This is where I want to be on this chord. If we're talking about a more complicated tune, maybe it's going to just take more sitting still to do that. So we're just thinking about getting to a key center, moving through simple familiar shapes, and always being in a sense of forward motion and a little bit of tension, a little bit of release.
Right, yeah. And that could, like you said before, that could be done rhythmically. It could be done with your note choices. And I think you have to just experiment too. Like that's part of the process, I think. Is like you have to try things out and figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And then never mind the 10,000 hour rule. I mean, you've probably got 40,000 hours, right?
Right.
And same with me. Man, I've been playing gigs since I was 12 years old. So, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel very, very fortunate that I had that opportunity to do that, because I wasn't told what to play. I was just able to figure it out all on my own.
Yeah. What a gift.
And I was improvising, and I didn't know that wasn't something that most people did in a country band. That you're supposed to learn the solos off the record and play those. And I didn't know any better. I thought that everybody improvised. So I better come up with something really good. Because what I heard on record, oh my God, that's what they came up with at that particular time. Then that means you have to come up with something really awesome every time you play.
Which is almost an impossible feat, but great to...
Ignorance was bliss,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. That's like your origin story of like superhero Adam. I love it. Like, that's cool. You were bit by like a radioactive Telecaster.
Yeah. Even though I don't think I never had a Telecaster back then. But yeah.
So I wanted to show you, this is an exercise from my book that kind of takes this thing we've been doing with 1 and 4 and 5 to another level. And in the book, it might be... It's something that's a lot easier to show on camera than to try to write as an exercise. So what
Do you need me to play any chords or anything for you?
I do. Okay. Actually, it would be great if you could walk bass.
Okay.
And now, instead of using the kind of big dumb blues, I want to show you one other kind of, well, not show you, you know this, but let's do an 8-bar blues where we start on the 4, 2 bars of 4, 2 bars of 1, 2 bars of 5, 2 bars of 1. And let's change keys. We've been in C. What's another key?
We could do the key of F if you want.
Great.
Or the key of A.
Okay, let's do A.
Okay, that's a very popular key.
Yeah.
And you said we're starting on the 4 chord, right?
Yeah, we're starting on the 4 chord, and I just need you to play bass. And what I'm going to do is, for each chord, I'm going to play 2 notes together. So like for D, I might do this. And it's just for the whole bar, right? So nothing rhythmic, just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's another bar of D, so I might go up here.
Sure, yeah.
Or if I wanted to do something that wasn't so triadic, I might do this. It's got the 3rd and the 9. And then when we go to A...
Wait a minute, that's very modern. Just kidding.
So in other words, I'm only playing whole notes, and I'm always going to play in note pairs. And let's just...
And I'm gonna, if I'm guessing correctly, sometimes you're gonna go for less color, sometimes you're gonna go for more color.
Right. So let's just try this, and I just need you to play bass. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry. You did exactly the right thing.
Okay.
And I didn't change fast enough. So sorry.
It's two measures of...
So 2 measures of D7, 2 measures of A7, 2 measures of E7. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, I got a little bit off the thread there, but
it didn't bother me. I didn't hear anything that sounded like, ooh, he made a mistake.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean? So that means that there's a lot more forgiving things that can happen than most people realize. If you get so inside yourself, it's like, oh man, I did the wrong thing, and then all of a sudden you're not thinking about creating music anymore. You're thinking about all that mistake and how horrible everything is, and life sucks, and I suck. Everything sucks. Let me just get off the stage. I wanna.
I don't know what you're talking about. So you try. Let's switch roles. So same exercise. I'll play bass, and you can play any 2 notes.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's so hip. So what was that like for you on the inside of that?
Again, I'm just trying to have fun and interact with you, and I'm not really thinking too hard about what I'm playing.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
A cool, it's a good exercise for people that have kind of this like hot stove reactions. Like if you play something and it didn't sound like what you wanted, just let it go.
Yeah.
Get to the next chord. Like you always want to be moving towards the next thing. I mean,
it doesn't help judging yourself on the fly.
No.
Because music is perpetually moving forward, so you have to move forward too. You don't have time to dwell on that mistake. I can't go back and fix it.
No. So
that's the difference than composing on paper as opposed to composing in real time as an improviser.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so by doing 2 notes at a time, it's a little bit like what we were doing earlier with triads, but now you're kind of dealing with 2 melodies at the same time. And
right.
In a kind of aspirational way, it's cool if you can have 2 melodies going and be in control of them.
Right, yeah.
That's pretty hard to do, but at this pace, maybe you can do it, and you might start out by really focusing on the lower note at first, but eventually you can toggle your attention between the 2 notes and see if you can get both notes to go to a cool place.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because a lot of guitar players, unless you're maybe classically trained, aren't used to thinking that way. Right? That's almost more like a piano player is used to thinking that way.
Yeah.
I'll have 2 separate things going on at the same time. It could be opposing motion or parallel motion or...
Exactly. Yeah. It's not an exercise in like how many chord grips do you know. It really, think about it more like just like 2-finger typing or 2 fingers on playing the piano or something. Each thing has its own momentum to it, but we're not trying to go from memorized shapes.
Can we try that again? And
Sure.
And maybe as an entry point, you can do something like this, where I'm going to stick to just the same, maybe the 1st and 3rd strings, but I'll make each voice go at separate times.
Oh, love it.
Try that.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So now especially if you have a hard time of trying to track 2 voices at the same time, you can almost do ends up being like a call and response thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun because I'm having this like little dialogue with myself.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, and the version of that of that exercise that is in my book doesn't go to all the like, and you could also try, like, it's really just try this exercise.
The 411 possibilities.
But that's all there.
Right.
I mean, have you you studied classical guitar, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even still, you may be familiar. There's this book.
I'm classically ignorant.
There's this book of exercises by a composer, guitarist named Mauro Giuliani.
Okay.
And it's 120 exercises for the right hand. How thick do you think this book is?
I don't know. 400 pages?
No, it's about as thick as a matchbook because
Okay.
each exercise is just 2 measures.
Oh, okay.
And it's all...
Right, yeah. It's not like 400 songs.
No.
Yeah.
And each exercise is just based on C and G7 in the left hand. So left hand is very boring, but...
Because it's for the right hand.
Because it's exercises for the right hand. Yeah. And what you just like cracked this little exercise wide open, because in my book I just show you, hey, here's this basic exercise to get started with. It's good to warm up your hands because it moves slowly. It's good to warm up your ears because you really have to pay attention, and to
Right.
warm up your imagination because you have time to think about what the next thing is, and like, oh, I wonder what happens if I do this. Like, everything moves at a nice pace. But what you just did, where you're actually like kind of moving the two voices not in lockstep but in kind of a conversational way, could lead to, you know, I mean, there's your Tuesday right there. You know,
And I mean, I did play some other strings than I promised that I was going to stick to, but it's only because I was compelled. I had to go there
yeah,
to finish my idea,
right,
which is totally fine.
totally fine, because that's what you want to do on a gig anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes limiting yourself to certain strings or something like as an exercise is good, but I wasn't necessarily trying an exercise. I was trying to make music with you, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in this style or technique that would be good to bring up, even if we wanted to go back to the dumber blues in the key of C or something?
Sure.
Like, you know how you were playing double stops, whole notes. What if you played single notes more sparsely like that?
Okay.
Or like, for example, the first thing that I would think of if I'm on a C going to an F7 chord is if I'm playing an E note, all I have to do is drop that to an E flat, and like magic, without trying really hard, I'm in the territory, the sound of F7.
Right.
Right?
Right. And did you get there by hearing it, or did you get there by doing a calculation?
You could say that it's a calculation, but I'm not thinking really hard about it.
Yeah.
Mostly just because I know what notes make up chords,
Right.
without having to like think hard about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we study and practice, is just so you can, just like we're having a conversation, we're not thinking really, really hard about what we're going to say next.
Right.
We already know the English language, and whatever idea pops in your head, you can just say it. That's where I always wanted to be on my instrument.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, let's try that.
Okay.
So
this will be calculated because I'll do that move, and
Okay.
then we'll see what happens after that.
okay, big dumb 12-bar blues.
Sure.
Or
Or do you want to do the 8-bar blues in
Let's do-
C?
8-bar blues in C. So 2
Yeah.
bars of F7,
Yep.
2 bars of C7, 2 bars of G7, 2 bars of C7.
Sure.
A 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I gummed up the works a little bit, but I felt where you were going. Like, I wanted to ride that wave, that little chromatic wave down with you. That's cool. Okay, what if we take that now, and you were talking about rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think of a simple
Yeah, because
tuple.
we were just basically isolating note choices.
Note
I wasn't
choices.
trying to play anything super rhythmical.
Right.
Right.
So let's now take a fixed rhythm. So, doom bop 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 bop
Okay.
bop 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 bop. So same progression. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I started on the,
It's
that's
on the
okay.
one chord, yeah. 2, a 1, 2. I would have been cool with it though. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Okay, I want to try it now.
Okay, 1, 2, buckle your shoe.
Yeah. So at a certain point, I left that phrase behind.
Yeah.
Because
Which is totally, because you have to just go with what your gut is telling you. I recently did a video where I was talking about you have to trust your instincts. And I think that's what, maybe in a roundabout way, we're just kind of revisiting that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That concept.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Well, so what was one of the insights in that lesson about how to tap into your intuition?
Well, I mean, you could do a bit of a backstory and say you'd have to still know what you're doing in a way, like especially if you're playing through complicated chord changes. But I think lots of people play on instinct and have no idea what notes to play or what they're supposed to be playing as far as theory goes, and they sound fine.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of just, I think everybody is born with a certain amount of intuition, and you just have to tap into it. And I think that's where I maybe feel blessed from such a young age, is that I just fell into that on a feeling that it was a necessary basis, but I didn't know any better. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, because I could play super busier than we have if I wanted to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
I know you can. Yeah. I
And that can cause tension too. Just being the fact that you're playing something a little bit busier and then you won't relax again.
cause tension in a good way.
Right.
Because of your,
not like, wait a minute. Not that kind of a tension.
no, but like you're setting up an expectation, and then your choice to deliver on that expectation or not is a kind of playing with tension.
Yeah.
I would recommend that people, like, besides listening to great improvisers, listen to great talkers, whether it's a stand-up comedian that you like who's just, one person alone on a microphone, or whether it's, if you want to listen to Martin Luther King give a speech, any great orator, or...
I think the whole concept is good storytelling.
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's comedy, a speech, or a movie. It's storytelling. How are you gonna hold the viewer or the listener and keep them, stringing them along and causing enough little surprises here and there to keep their interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to do it on a sort of almost manufactured level, but we're doing it in real time. Right.
And anybody who's really good at it uses certain kind of frameworks. I know that if I'm going to improvise for this much time, I need to have a couple of peak moments that are like where the real excitement is.
Right.
I might use some repetition because that helps the story move along. I might think about where I'm going before I get there. I might know, like, okay, it's a 12-bar blues. I'm going to take 4 choruses, and I want the peak of excitement to be here. I mean, this is something when I went to music school, I studied arranging with this really great arranging teacher. And he would do these, like...
Is that Grove?
Yeah, at the Dick Grove School of Music.
Yeah.
And he would say, okay, this is the emotional contour. My arrangement has to be 4 minutes and 37 seconds long. And let's map out, what's going to happen.
Right.
As far as just the intensity of it. And then over the course of your musical life, you develop more and more and more tools that help you realize that. When you first start out, maybe all you have is like, okay, if I want more energy, I can play higher, I can play faster, and I can play louder. That's always going to work. Because that's human nature.
Rock guys know that.
Yeah, totally. Right.
Yeah.
That's what gets people's attentions. But over time, as you become a more nuanced storyteller, maybe you study other great storytellers, you realize like, oh, repetition is a tool that I can use.
Yeah.
Surprise is a tool that I could use. It's almost thinking about, like I said, like how a stand-up comedian operates, or even a close-up magician or a stage magician. It's not just the trick.
Right.
The trick is...
It's leading up to the trick.
Exactly. And that's why we show up.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be fooled. We want to be amazed. We want all of that stuff.
That's the social contract, I guess. Without saying...
Yeah.
I don't know why that just popped into my head, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So try to think of I guess the stuff that I wanted to share with you today is really kind of the twofold things, is thinking about your improvisation more along these lines. Like, think about what is the story that you want to convey. Or if you were a magician, there's a mechanical thing that you're going to do when you handle the cards that makes the trick happen.
Right.
But what makes different magicians able to use the same, mechanical thing, and we love both of them in a different way, is how they frame it. So how you frame everything is super important, but without words. Like, we're not talking on the guitar, but we still can set up expectations. You lead the listener towards something, and you either deliver on that, which makes them feel a certain way, or you lead them this way and then you go that way, and that feels a different way. So that's one aspect to really... We are kind of energy workers. Like, we move energy in different ways, and we move attention in different ways. Then, coming back to the instrument, okay, cool idea. Mm-hmm. What are we going to practice? And actually, I think what we need to practice is fundamentals.
Right.
Because for most people, if you say, okay, we're going to do this thing that's almost like a mentalism act, and by the way, you need to learn all of your 4-part chords in every inversion, in every key, on every string set, and all the arpeggios and all the keys. It's like, a lot of people are just not going to ever do the work, and they just get discouraged. It's like, okay, well...
They're going to have to want it so bad that they do it anyway.
Right. And a handful of people do, and we love those people.
Right.
But in the meantime, if you're sitting at home and you just want to go to the Tuesday jam session in your town where you live...
And have fun.
I think, learn to move a melody that makes it feel like you're going to the 4 chord, or to the 5 chord, or from 5 to 1. And then you can learn to build on that. Oh, what if I do like something to gets to the 4 chord and then to the 1? So you make these like compound structures. What if I do the 5 of the 5? Oh, cool. And you learn to string together these things that become longer phrases. You incorporate rhythm. Mm-hmm. All of that stuff is what it is. It's not just having a spreadsheet of these scales.
Ideas to run through.
No.
Okay, I'm going to try idea number 1 that I practiced, and now I'm going to move to idea number 3 during my solo that I worked on. It doesn't ever usually work out, ever at all.
No.
And the sort of almost antithesis to that, I love this quote by Jim Hall. Don't just play something, sit there.
Easier said than done.
Right. But he was like the master of that, I would say.
Yeah.
And that motivic rhythmic development that we were trying.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Jim Hall record?
The trio that was recorded with in Toronto with Terry Clark on drums and
Don Thompson.
Don Thompson on bass. Yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Yeah,
I've lifted a few things off of that. I did like transcribe his whole solo on what's the name of that song?
I Hear a Rhapsody.
I Hear a Rhapsody. Yeah, it is just such a killer solo that I wanted to like learn every note, and I had at the time I had some software that could slow the recording down, and I learned it really slow and kept speeding it up until I could play along to the whole thing. And I think, you know, I don't even talk about this that much, but there's a lot of different thought on transcribing and then learning stuff note for note. I think it can be good, because if you only listen, that's on another level. But then to almost fit yourself in that person's shoes and then get their phrasing and rhythmic sense down, that will maybe expand you. And like you said before, you're learning where their climax happened in their solo, or the little things along the way. If you study it in that sense, if you're aware of those things, if you look for those things.
Yeah.
But maybe even on an even intuitive level. And there's some people that are like, no, don't transcribe a whole solo. Just maybe learn a few licks or here and there.
Why do
and
people say that?
I don't know. People have different ideas and viewpoints on different things. But and that can be good too, especially if you want to incorporate language into your playing, that lick right there, over those two measures, that's killer. I want to learn that. That's great.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I think you get different things out of learning a whole solo and trying to play it note for note.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I've heard teachers.
Some people don't want to transcribe at all. Like I know a killer piano player by the name of Benito Gonzalez that's never said he's never transcribed anything ever.
Right, but I bet you he has learned a lot of lessons by listening to records, whether he's literally trying to like get it under his fingers or put it on paper or not. That's the thing is, yes, if you want to learn some language and some licks, you could totally learn one Wes lick or one Joe Diorio lick or one Joe Pass lick or one Kurt Rosenwinkel lick. And now you've got something that you've added to your vocabulary. But if you want to learn about how music works, I think you do have to transcribe the whole solo, because otherwise you're missing the context. You're missing, how did that person get to that lick? How did they make that lick sound amazing a minute and 37 seconds into the solo? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they might even use that same lick, or almost the same, in another recording somewhere else, or maybe even in the same song.
Right.
But maybe they used it in a different way, in a different spot, or different chord changes, or morphed it. That's where the real like super artistry comes in, I think.
Right.
And then they're not even really thinking about it.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Right.
They're just playing off the top of their head, and they're just like, oh, this is what chord we're on, so I'm going to play that sound, and I might think that I can change one or two notes, but I'm not going to overthink it because I want to be in the moment.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I think you can think a lot about architecture and think about, okay, I want to start my solo maybe in this part of the guitar, kind of slow, and then the next time the tune comes around, when we get to the top of the form, I want to be more in this register and using triplets or half note. Like, no, I take that back. I don't even want to use any kind of musical words at all.
Right.
Just thinking simply about architecture. What you get by studying a whole solo is you learn how a solo could be structured.
Right.
And by not studying that, it could wind, like if you're really gifted, like your piano player friend, maybe you don't have to study it. You just either learn on the bandstand like you did, playing gigs at 12. You learn by just paying attention. Look around you. Did you make the drummer smile when you played that thing? Okay, that's probably good.
Right.
Did people clap at the end of that solo? Okay, then you probably did something good.
Well, in my case, the first people that I played to as an audience, were people in old folks' homes. Like, and they weren't shy about telling you whether it worked or not.
Good, good.
Yeah, you got to look at us more.
Yeah.
You were looking at your guitar the whole time. You never even looked at us.
Right.
They would come right up and tell you that.
That's a good lesson.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's,
those kinds of things.
those are the people, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're just at home listening to music and trying to work out what am I going to do at the jam session that I go to on Tuesdays with the people, or maybe you're going to get together with a buddy, or even just play with your teacher. If you just are focused on the ingredients list, but you've never actually like baked a cake from beginning to end.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Like that's really essential.
And then you've got people like me who don't follow recipes at all and just like will make something anyway.
Right.
Because if you've got good ingredients, it's going to work out.
Yeah,
and I think that can be the same thing with music too.
And good intuition,
right?
Like your friend, the piano player, and good taste. You know, like you've been in the world. You've experienced
a few things.
So you maybe have in your imagination. I'm going to try to kind of. I remember this one cake I had, but I always wished it had a little more of this or a little less of that, and you can try it. But go through. I think it's worth everybody's time to transcribe at least, a half a dozen solos, start to finish. We talk about this in my string theories book that I wrote. I say we, not talking about myself as we. It's a book that I co-authored with Ethan Sherman.
Split personality disorder.
We call it conceptual transcription.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you transcribe a solo from beginning to end, but you're not so much looking at it like, oh, I see, they played the melodic minor scale up a half step here because that's its altered dominant. You're just looking as like, where is there more tension? Where is there less tension?
Right.
Where's there more energy? Where is there less energy?
And maybe the overall shape of the whole thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you don't do that, you're going to miss that. You might get a cool lick to play, but you don't really have an idea of like what makes a really great solo.
And the great Hal Galper, I've heard him talk about, instead of necessarily transcribing the pitches, just transcribe the rhythms.
Ooh,
and
I
then
love that.
play your own solo or write a solo to your favorite musician's rhythms.
I love that.
So you create your own line using their phrasing, their rhythms.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
And I took a Charlie Parker head and wrote my own song using exactly the same rhythms, but just my own note choices.
Cool. How did it turn out?
Good, yeah. I recorded it on my Out of the Blue album. It's called Autumn Confirmation. So I took confirmation chord changes, or the rhythms, and then over Autumn Leaves chord changes.
That is a cool idea. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, and don't ever try to play confirmation when you play your own song like that, because then you get them too mixed up. Don't ever try to do that on a gig. I did that one time. It was a mistake. That was not a good thing, because I couldn't get out of one or the other.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Well, should we play something to maybe?
Let's do that. You want to play Bye Bye Blackbird?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to play the melody?
Sure. Yeah. Man, you're so good at guitar, Adam.
Oh, so are you. Thanks for coming by, Adam.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.